Sup guys, in this clip Joe Rogan discusses the sacred astronomical knowledge encoded in the Great Pyramid. Hope you enjoy.
We couldn't accurately figure out where we were on those east to west traverses. Like accurately reflecting longitude in the pyramid it's astonishing. It's one of those things that also relates to ancient maps having like accurate coastlines with longitude on them. But what seems clear is that somebody at some point in the past had very accurate knowledge, not only of cosmic cycles, but also of the shape and size of the Earth itself. Like in terms of they surveyed it, they understood its shape, they understood the ratio of latitude to longitude on the planet, and it's all
For reference, latitude and longitude are those lines that are displayed on maps, and this is how they look like on a globe.
encoded in this monument, and it's kind of scratching the surface on what's encoded in their Great Pyramid. But I mean, the numbers are all there. You can add these up.
Have you ever had a debate with anybody that thinks that this is all coincidence and that you could take these numbers and just kind of monkey around with them and make any kind of equation you want if you just draw arbitrary distances between certain things?
No, not.
Because some people do believe that, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's a difference between when you talk about numbers versus ratios. Like it does. Once you get to ratios, then it doesn't matter how you measure them.
A good example of this is the 3-4-5 triangle, where if you multiply the side lengths by some given number, the ratio will still stay the same.
Like it's like the ratio. It doesn't matter you measure them in mosquito dicks or inches or whatever, right? It's all centimeters. So ratios are one thing. Numbers, there is a lot. I mean, the whole system of measurement, how we measure time, the imperial system of measurement, where the mile comes from, all of that stuff does have these deep roots in sacred geometry and basically cosmic. And that's, again, I think all pointing towards a common system or a common set of knowledge that came from. But I've not debated somebody about this. I don't know that you can't really question the numbers.
Have to agree with Ben, numbers don't lie.
But there's some incredible, just I guess, coincidences that are in this whole system that do point towards, like, I mean, they get really crazy. So here's another one, which this one just pickles my noodle.
Wait, what?
It's so, we know that I've said this before. I think that the sun is, the moon's 400 times smaller than the sun, and the sun's 400 times further away. So you get this. That's how we get total solar eclipses. That's really nice. But there's also another sacred number encoded in their ratios relative to their diameters and the distance from Earth. That's the same between the moon and the sun, and that's 108. So if you take the diameter of the moon at whatever it is, 2160 miles. By the way, 2160 is also the length of a great month in the precessional cycle. That's 1/12 of 25,920.
The distance between the Earth and the Sun is 108 sun diameters. The distance between the Moon and the Earth is 108 moon diameters. This coincidence has fascinated astronomers for hundreds of years.
But 2160 miles times 108, that gives you more or less the distance between of the Moon to the Earth. So moon's so it's the moon's diameter times 108 gives you the distance to the Earth. The sun's diameter, which is 86,400 miles, which is the number of seconds in a 24-hour period, times that by 108, and you get this. That's the distance of the sun from the Earth. So it's like that relationship between their diameter and their distance from the Earth is exactly the same between the sun and the moon, and it's 108. That ratio. So it's the lunar.
No way, that's a coincidence. Just can't be.
Lunar diameter over lunar distance equals solar diameter over solar distance. And, I mean...
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. Yeah, and it's 108. And by the way, there are temples in places like Cambodia that have 108 pillars. Like 108 is another one of these sacred numbers that have been encoded into the way we measure stuff, the way we count for time. So there's a huge sort of... rabbit hole of sacred geometry that and precessional numerology that seems to point to some point in the past, someone having all of this understanding to create these systems and to measure things and to do so accurately to the point where...
Who could have learned all of this knowledge originally? Was it us humans, gods, or aliens? Let me know in the comments.
The more accurate we get in our measurements, the closer we get to these the ratios and data reflected in these ancient structures. it's just, and you can't attribute that to the cultures that were on those side, like the ancient Egyptians or the Greeks. It's like, where did this information come from, and how come it's represented in cultures from, the Norse mythology through, South American Native Indian myths to, these numbers show up again and again, as was shown by Hamlet's Mill, this book that basically, this tome that put that information together and said,
Hamlet's Mill by Giorgio de Santillana and Herta von de Chand. The book argues that many ancient myths around the world secretly encode advanced astronomical knowledge, especially the precession of the equinoxes.
well, all of it seems to point to this, this origin point of someone with this information. And it's one more of these contextual points when you combine it with the human timeline and climate and cataclysm and all the endless other contradictions in the megalithic architecture on these sites and stuff like that makes this concept that we've been significantly advanced, us or someone has, and they've left all these signs and signals and breadcrumbs for us to try and follow to figure out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, the pyramid is cool.
It is.
Have to agree with Ben once again. The pyramid is cool.
Just whoa. It is my favorite subject of all time.
Yeah.
The lost civilization subject, I think, is my favorite subject because it ties all of them together. It and the mystery of the human origins. All of it.
Yeah, it's just I think it's plausible. I think it's probable even that we've risen and have been wiped out. I mean, I think I was just saying, I just spent 5 weeks in Peru again. I just came back like 10 days ago. And I mean, that place more than anywhere else is both more mysterious and more obvious that
Yes, just look at the megalithic work in Peru. Look at these stones. Like, look at this wall, for example. How on earth would you so precisely cut giant stones that weigh about 1, 2, 3, 4 tons a piece? And how do you join them so perfectly? Like, to this day, we cannot replicate this technology. Like, isn't that crazy?
there was something else going on a long time ago.
More obvious.
Yeah, more of in the delta between these technological levels. Like, so in Egypt, you never want to underestimate what the dynastic Egyptians were capable of. They had this long civilization of 3,000 years, and they did some incredible work. So, they're really good stonework. The lines can get a little blurred. I mean, you still see the difference, but in Peru, it's different, particularly in the Sacred Valley, places like Tiwanaku in Bolivia. But there you have these very distinct lines, like in terms of technology in the stone.
Like in this video, you can clearly see the megalithic work on the left and then some later period work on the right where the stones are significantly smaller, lighter, and more randomly placed.
Stonework and the layering of the stonework in that place. Typically it's mostly all attributed to the Inca, but the Inca were really only around for like maybe 300 years maximum. The Inca Empire was barely 100 years before the Spanish wiped them out in 1533. And so it's relatively young, right? So 1200 AD roughly to 1533. And they attribute most everything to the Inca, and it's just not. You just look at it and go, "This is not remotely possible." There's a huge difference. You see these 3 different layers of architecture